You raise the blade, you make the change, you rearrange me, till I'm inviting you to Sync Floyd, the podcast where we watch every movie ever made to see if it syncs up with Pink Floyd's 1973 magnum opus, The Dark Side of the Moon. That's right, I'm not welcoming you, I'm inviting you to this one. So take a seat. You're going to be uncomfortable and not sure when to leave, but I'm Gareth Blackler, and I'm your host. But I'm not your only host. Oh no, I actually can't keep this energy. Hold on, we'll start over.
No, this is perfect. Hi, I'm James Barron. I'm the other host, your maitre d', here serving up hot, fresh podcasts for you. We're keeping that one. That was great.
No, fine. Welcome to Sync Floyd. It's a podcast where we watch movies on mute with Pink Floyd playing. My name is Gareth, and that is the name of an Arthurian knight, which is all good and well, because this week we're talking about one of the Arthurian knights, but more importantly, his green buddy, the Green Knight. James, how green do you reckon this knight is?
He's green as, man. He's like, I feel like he started out not green, and time rolled on, he became green all over. Covered. He's a real Oscar the Grouch type. Man, he's up there with Gumby in terms of green folk that I know. Yeah. Watch The Green Knight, a movie from this year, a new release. As of, well, kind of. It's been in development for a long time, and I've been hyping it up for a hell of a long time.
Yeah.
So, I'm happy to talk about it here with you.
Yeah. So, we were both very excited for The Green Knight. I think you opened the door to me for The Green Knight. You said, get aboard, get through this door, I'm inviting you. And we both just I think we may have both just sat in our cupboards recording and off mic hyping each other up for The Green Knight to the point where I, for one, thought The Green Knight was a huge Hollywood hit that everyone was hyped for.
Nah, man.
And I organised watch-alongs. I organised 2 simultaneous watch-alongs when the film finally hit New Zealand streaming.
Hell yeah. And
wow. I got a good number. I think I got 20 people watching it at the same time.
Holy shit, man. Nice work.
Right?
That's really good.
But the first thing when I switched my phone back on at the end was, all right, so Gareth's never picking another film again.
Oh, no. Damn, fair enough.
Because, this film weird.
It's super weird.
Yeah. James, talk me through your adventure with The Green Knight. How do you feel about it?
Yeah.
How was the hype train for you?
So, this is a classic tale of false bravado and all kinds of hubris, really, at the end of the day. But, saw this trailer for The Green Knight online, and I was like, holy shit, this is a movie tailor-made for me. You know how much I love my dark fantasy bullshit. And so when I saw this trailer, I was like, oh my God, this is fantastic. Turns out all the best bits are in the trailer, really, for this movie, I would say. It's a fantastic trailer. And I got mad hyped, and this movie got, delayed for, a full year. It was supposed to come out, this time last year, and it got delayed for obvious reasons. And eventually came out online. We had to pay Big Bezos some money to see this film. And it's it's not as good as I was hoping. But the thing is, I set my goal for this movie. I set my aspirations astronomically high for this, and that I was hoping for this. I was hoping for a completely mad fantasy adventure. And I kind of got that. The more I've seen this movie now 3 times. And the more I've watched it, the more I like it. First watch, I was like, okay, that really kind of disappointed me, but I'd set it way too high. And the more I've watched it, the more I've enjoyed it. So, I'm here to defend my love of The Green Knight, but know that it's a weird film and it's not for everyone, and it's definitely not a blockbuster release that should be celebrated.
Yeah, it's definitely not organized. A bunch of people who have wildly different movie tastes to all watch. Yeah, because I was going to say, is this the first, like, ye old fantasy that I like more than you? Because I thoroughly loved this movie, but I think I loved it also, and I will let you answer. I think I loved this movie because of our friendship and this show.
Aww.
Like, I think you've taught me how to be hyped for things that are fantasy for the nature of them being fantasy.
Yeah.
And then when this film did that, and then was also super weird and arty, and like kind of played with the idea of being a hero, I found in a really interesting way. It all worked out for me.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, can you think of any ye old fantasies that I might like more than you? Because,
this might be it, honestly. Like,
yeah, right?
Fantasy is my whole shit a lot of the time. So, like, that is so heartwarming to hear, Gareth, that you absolutely bloody loved this. Oh, I'm stoked to hear it. But yeah, I think my main beef with this film is that I knew about the legend, the Green Knight, going in.
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of like old Arthurian legends and stuff like that. I've done my research on this kind of stuff, and so I had an expectation of like what was going to happen, and they changed various things, and wildly the legend leaves a lot more like up in the air than this movie does. Like, this movie sort of fills in the blanks a lot of the time, and I like found that bizarre. Even though this movie is, like, as you say, very arty and ethereal and not a lot is explained, it's seriously, the legend is even looser. It's like very ephemeral in nature. Still like same kind of plot, and also like various things are changed for the movie to serve a different kind of story than I think that obviously the Green Knight was trying to tell. But I think it works really well, and like I've definitely come round on it the more that I've watched. So I don't know if it's my favorite movie of the year, but it's definitely top like 3, I'd say. Yeah.
Because, currently, as of recording, it's sitting at my number 1.
Oh, yeah.
But I almost feel like even by the time the episode comes out, it won't be, because cinemas are reopening in Auckland, New Zealand, and I'm probably going to go see a bit of Dune, see a bit of Last Night in Soho.
Yeah.
Probably, I have a free ticket to Candyman.
Yeah.
Candyman is only playing at one cinema at 4 p.m. on a Wednesday. So I'm gonna try.
Yeah.
Gonna try to get to Candyman.
Absolutely. You've said it 3 times now, so
up.
you like.
Oh
no!
Please welcome our guest, the Candyman.
He's not on mic. He's just looming in the background with like a hook and stuff. I haven't seen Candyman. I don't know. I don't know what his deal is. Something about bees. Anyway, shall we talk about the Green Knight? How it's synced up? This is a pretty long flick with a lot going on. So shall we talk about how it's synced up? Eh?
Yeah, I do just want to say this is my English teacher theory for this film.
Ooh.
And I'm dropping it early because I feel like it is going to kind of paint... Like, I'm hoping it can paint how people kind of think about the film as we go through it.
Okay.
I think this film is, and I should have written this down because it's very warm and no English teacher teaches in this heat. They all go home. This film is a deconstruction of myths themselves and the stories we need to tell. Like, why we need to simplify things into a story to begin with. This is my theory, and it could fall apart, like, as we go through it. And I'm very interested in how you knowing the poem will feed into this. But essentially, Gawain, Dev Patel's character, he's in a world where the only thing that's important seems to be the stories of yourself. And he finally gets to be in a story. But his story is, incredibly simply, you have to walk somewhere so a guy can kill you. And so he spends this whole walk trying to live this knightly life, trying to, do all the things knights do. Like, you see him, he'll talk very knightish and then just be shot down by another character. And, like, these pretty much to a lot of people's detriment of the film, these random things that look cool happen to him. And I think the film's doing that on purpose to be like, yes, it's not, the way you tell a story is to just have the stuff suddenly derail your character, but it's how life works. And then when he gets to the end and realizes, oh, I am just going to get my head cut off, he then has to tell himself a story about why that's the best thing for the village and how he's actually really noble to do it. And yeah, so that's my big English teacher thing. I also think you can take that aside and enjoy this film, much like Pink Floyd do, as a concept album where every scene is a song loosely telling a story.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like both of those takes. That is very, very good. That makes a lot of sense to me. And that it's the whole point is that it's a deconstruction of the hero's journey kind of thing, and what that means for a character when they're trying to slot themselves into that. That's sort of the feeling for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I like this film so much because years ago I lived in a flat that had the hero's journey, Joseph Campbell, on like a DVD as a documentary, and I was sick from work one day and I thought I'd watch that, and it was so dry and so hard to understand, and already I was like feverish and unwell.
Oh no.
And really I should have just been watching like Brooklyn Nine-Nine in bed.
Yeah.
But I watched like a little bit, hated the experience, and now maybe I'm all about like, oh, you're gonna destroy the concept of a hero's journey?
Yeah.
Sign me up, invite me in.
Invite me to the table.
Yeah, say my name 3 times. I'll be right there.
This movie feels like the dream that you would have after that experience. Like,
yeah,
feverishly dreaming of this hero for sure.
This is the dream my parents had when they fell asleep taking us to Lord of the Rings.
Yep. There you go.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it, bud. Let's do it. Let's talk about the movie for real. Opening titles, blah, blah, blah. Speak to me. We get the whispers from an unknown character with a crown descending upon our boy Dev Patel's head. He is not the titular Green Knight, but in fact Sir Gawain. I say Sir Gawain. The movie says Sir Gawain, which is interesting. I've always said Gawain just because that's how it's written, and I've never met a Gawain or a Garwin, so I'm going to say Gawain, and you're going to have to deal with that, listeners. I'm sorry.
I can deal with that.
Okay, good.
I also reckon we could just call him Dev Patel, because it is Dev Patel doing so much of the heavy lifting to make this character likable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't like this if it wasn't Dev Patel, and I don't know what it says about me, or movies in general, or Dev Patel.
No, that's very fair. He does bring the role to life for sure. But yeah, he's about to burst into flame ominously. He just sets alight. He's sitting in sort of like a medieval kind of like artistic pose. So like a drawing of like the Pope or Jesus or something from like a medieval text would resemble this like posing. Yeah, but so it's sort of like a biblical vibe going on. And yeah, they're talking about like a fabled king, and they're saying that this isn't the story of King Arthur, but in fact a different king, a story of ill portent Gareth. It's going to be a bad time. And yeah, we get this like opening sequence with credits intercut, where there is like a farmyard and bells tolling in the distance as we right as we go into Breathe. And
yes,
it is we see this building in the distance catching fire and people rushing into action with this like farmyard in the foreground with like a sleepy farmer guy. And yeah, this works really well to Breathe. Freaked me out. And yeah, we just pull from the scene. We pull through a window, pull backwards through it, and then into this room where Sir Gawain is sleeping, and he is startled awake by a splash of water from his girl Essel, who's like a common girl. Yeah. Sort of. I don't know what her deal is, but she's covered in bells. which I like a lot. Just classic minstrel vibes from Essel.
It's Christmas time.
Yeah, it is. It is Christmas time. It's Christmas Day, I believe. Here. And he's waking up like in this sort of slum area and getting ready and going into the Camelot Castle, because this is Camelot where we are. And yeah, he's getting ready. There are random people like asking him if he's a knight yet, and he says, "No, I'm not." And it's people are saying, "Better hurry up and become a knight." And as soon as we get this like hurry up notion, we get race towards an early grave and then going into On the Run. And he's like, just sort of trudging through the streets of Camelot, returning to home on his horse, and he picks up Essel and puts her on the back of the horse. And yeah, it's just good vibes at the start of this film.
Yeah.
Really. And yeah, we get the intro of Sir Gawain as a character, which is introduced in multiple medieval fonts flashing on screen, like reminding me way too much of like a medieval version of the Space Jam intro. But yeah,
I mean, in a way, that was green people challenging our heroes to a game.
Yeah,
To me, it was like a medieval Kanye West's "All of the Lights."
Oh,
like font changing. Yeah,
very much so. That's also a great comparison. Yes. It's also like all the font work in this movie is really, really nice. There's a regular recurring feature where like the different acts or parts of the story are introduced on screen with title cards in these lovely medieval fonts.
Yeah.
And I like that a lot. As like a graphic designy guy, that's real nice. And yeah, he gets home and his mum is there, and she accuses him of like, "Where were you?" And he claims he was at mass all night, but he wasn't. Super wasn't. And yeah, so you can tell that he's this sort of like rebellious, basically like near child, like at this point, just like having a grand time in Camelot and not really having much responsibility, and we'll understand more about that soon. But yeah, he gets ready for a upcoming Christmas feast, and he's like, "Are you going to come along, Mum?" And she's like, "No, I don't have the appetite for the feast." And she leaves saying with this like foreboding message, she says, "Tell me what you see." And it's like, oh, okay. But we get the crash sound in On the Run as we like carried into this feast. This shot is bizarre. It's like we're looking up at the sky, looking up at the archway entrance of the castle as we go through it. It's very disorienting. It made me feel a little sick when I saw it for the first time, just because it's such an odd angle. But it is very dramatic. And we go into this feast as there's this ringed feast table with all the knights and the king and queen at the back, who are King Arthur and Queen Guinevere.
Looking very different to how you may remember them from Guy Ritchie's The Legend of the Sword.
Oh my god, yes.
Very old, very sickly.
Yeah, like emaciated, corpse-like almost, which is on purpose. By the way, on the director's part, he made this conscious decision. I'll get more into it later, I think.
Imagine if it wasn't on purpose. Like, he wanted them to show up looking cool and sexy, and then they showed up looking all emaciated. I was like, is this not what you wanted?
No.
I'm sorry.
Surely you want a weakened King Arthur. But anyway, we are cutting between this feast and a tower far outside Camelot, where Gawain's mother is out here performing some kind of dark ritual. It's very like pagan in nature. There's a lot of sticks and figures and like skulls and blood and all kinds of things. It feels very like woodsy druidic magic is taking place, and it's really good. So his mother, by the way, is Morgan Le Fay is the character name. And this is like the most important difference versus the legend or the poem. Morgan Le Fay in the poem is the like blindfolded lady much, much later in the story, in the like manor house castle bit at the end. So that is Morgan Le Fay in the legend. But they just kept that character there. And not at all related to Gawain. So making her this like pivotal role into his mother is super important and changes like the whole sort of structure of the film, really. And that she is she's the instigator for all these events that are coming. And the fact that it's his mother pushing him towards these things is super important. Just want to get that out of the way now.
No, and it's definitely where my theory falls apart, is if it wasn't someone directly choosing him for this quest, it would all, like, the idea that he's just been put into the randomness of life and is trying to make himself the big man would all add up. But
So the thing is,
I'm interested in what you got to say.
He fully doesn't know that she is behind all this or whatever. And that's why, like, it still works as a theory because he is acting of his own accord. He's just being like pushed by like these outside influences, but like whether or not that matters is up for debate, really. Like, because he is acting on his own, and how he's grappling with this is sort of the point of the movie. That's my take anyway.
And I suppose there's every chance that she's also, like, if you're going to say he's wrong, there's every chance that she's also wrong. Like, she could also be trying to make this great narrative, but it's not actually how it's going to work. Like, she could also believe that he's, destined to be a king, but a bad king or something.
We'll see. But so we're getting the ominous time chords as where Gawain gets called over to meet with the king and goes over to sit with him, and it turns out he's the king's nephew. Morgan Le Fay is the king's sister in the story as well, but again, usually not his mother, usually not Gawain's mother. But so an important difference. And then on screen we get a title card, "The Christmas Game," which is about to begin. And the king, we just get like a little bit of info from him about like how he regrets not getting to know Gawain better, how blood is thicker than water, and all this kind of stuff. And he's like, but that's why I brought you over here tonight. And he asks for a legend or like a tale, a grand tale about yourself. But Gawain has like nothing he can offer the king. Basically, the point here is that he has no amazing story to tell the king because he's sort of just wasting his life at this point. He's not, like, he aspires to be a knight but hasn't done any of the work or anything, is the idea.
He just likes to party.
Yeah, and fair play, but like Camelot, 'tis a silly place. But and the queen encourages him about this. She says, like, you have no tale to tell yet. And it's sort of like we've got time playing in the background, and this is a pretty good fit, like, thematically as well. And that, like, no one told you when to run, you missed the starting gun, that kind of feeling. He feels like he should be better than he is by now. And there's this expectation on him, but whether or not he's up to the challenge, at this point in the story, well, exactly. Anyway. So we cut back and forth between the king giving like his Christmas speech, which is very dramatic, and his mother performing this ritual and like etching this like letter, like writing this incredibly detailed like medieval font letter. Writing in the Middle Ages must have taken absolutely forever just by like looking at this. Oh my god.
Yeah, fill in every like strange triangle that forms a J and then move on to whatever the hell the A looked like, and then onwards.
There's so much room to absolutely fuck up as well. Like, there's no crossing out when you're doing like beautiful calligraphy in green ink, you know. And
that would look so funny though. Like half an F crossed out, a new F, and then you realize you've spelled the word wrong to begin with. It's crossed out.
I bet that happened a hell of a lot as well. It's just that like in like reviewing it now, we would never know. But I bet
they weren't keeping those ones.
Nah, they're all tossed into the flames. But the king says that he's the luckiest of all at the feast because he's among his friends, and I thought that was quite sweet.
Yeah.
Shout outs to Arthur. Arthur's like, honestly, he's like very old and frail in this, clearly late in his adventures, which I don't know like chronologically when the Green Knight is supposed to take place in terms of like, it's all up in the air, you know, with in terms of the stories, because all Arthurian legends are a series of stories rather than like, here are the events as they happened. Like, they're not historical in any way. We get the ritual culminating as we go into Great Gig. Unfortunately, it's not a perfect sync right as the Green Knight enters as the ritual is complete. I was a little bit disappointed by that. It's out by about like 5-6 seconds or something. But never mind. We can't always
It definitely does vibe though.
Oh, yeah. The Green Knight entering over the like somber opening like piano chords of Great Gig is very nice. We get the like not frightened of dying monologue as well, which works too. So
perfect.
All the knights stand up in their chairs and like ready to fight this guy, but the king gets beckoned forward at like a nod from Merlin, who, by the way, Merlin is just creepy as hell in this. Has no lines in the whole movie, but this is the scariest that Merlin's ever looked. I don't know what they've done, but
does he have face tattoos? Is that what's going on? It just
he's got like runes like tattooed under his eyes, and he looks like he just looks like a warlock, you know. Which I guess we're going for a much darker theme with this movie, so I guess that fits. But man, don't want this guy on my court. No way.
No.
I guess I do want him on my court. I don't want him opposing me. That's for sure. God damn.
And we haven't really talked... I guess we haven't seen him properly yet, but the Green Knight himself is like...
Here he is, yes.
This is what you want out of your fantasy movies, is just someone to have ripped up pages and pages on their character design until they've come up with something bananas. Like, I want to... If you're going to readapt, like, something this old and this, like... Especially this told this much. Like, there's been a Franklin in the Green Knight about the little cartoon turtle.
Wow.
Like, people have told the Green Knight story.
Was he the Green Knight or not?
No, it was Gawain.
That is
I
so
don't know
confusing.
which one. I really did want to watch it for preparation for this episode. And I'm very sorry. That's my greatest regret.
Oh, well.
But yeah, if you're going to do this, I want you to lock a character designer in a room for a year and then take their most insane scribblings.
Year and a day.
Use that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we'll come for you. And then I will draw a picture of you. Oh, gosh.
The Green Knight's like, he's sort of like an Ent from Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
He's a crusty tree man. But he's also like pretty handsome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got like a bearded sort of face to him, which is, but he is made out of tree bark. He's got these like kind old eyes. He looks extremely old. And his like armor is covered in like growing moss and plant life. And his horse isn't shown very much, but is also like similarly like armored up and like looks like it's slowly deteriorating away. But yeah, it has a very impressive presence, and he looks great. They nailed the look of the knight for me. This is like exactly the kind of thing that I imagined when reading the story, and that he is described as like being a force of nature. So yeah, that tracks perfectly for me. And yeah.
It's interesting because I think when this was told, like, we didn't quite have the idea that the devil was red. That hadn't been quite, like, nailed in. So, like, I think it was kind of up in the air. So it's not really known why the Green Knight is green. In terms of the poem. Like, I think the main thing is that it's nature and it's man versus nature.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I just like the idea that, you know, they were trialing a little green devil for a bit. Like how they had green Coca-Cola.
Yeah. He definitely has all the hallmarks of a devil, in that he's got this, like, this game with very strict rules, and it's just waiting for someone to sign on the contract and then get things going for a bit of a devilish game, you know? Like, classic. But yeah, he has come to propose his game. And he hands the queen a letter and makes her, like, read it. When she reads it we don't hear this in our watch because we're on mute, obviously, but in the theatrical cut of this movie, she reads it with his voice, like a distorted male voice, and her eyes, like, glaze over white as she reads this missive, which is, it's very fun. I've got it written here. Do you want me to read the whole thing? Or
yeah. Okay. Can you do it in the Green Knight's voice? In Ralph Ineson's voice?
I don't think I can. I'm not gonna.
Do you want me to try to put the reverb on it?
Okay. All right. Sure.
Okay.
You ready?
All right.
Oh, greatest of kings, indulge me in this friendly Christmas game. Let whichever of your knights is boldest of blood and wildest of heart step forth, take up arms, and try with honour to land a blow against me. Whomsoever nicks me shall lay claim to this, my arm.
And then he lifts his axe up. There it is.
Its glory and riches shall be thine, but thy champ must bind himself to this. Should he land a blow, then 1 year and Yuletide hence, he must seek me out yonder to the Green Chapel 6 nights to the north. He shall find me there, and bend the knee, and let me strike him in return. Be it a scratch on a cheek, or a cut to the throat, I will remain.
Oh, sorry. I fucked up.
I will return what was given to me, and then in trust and friendship we shall part. Who then? Who is willing to engage with me?
There you go. And
that was good. Can you also now say
Sink Floyd?
If we've got a listener called Mary, can you just say Mary can't come to the phone right now?
Mary can't come to the phone right now. The Green Knight has an engagement with her at the Green Chapel. Please call back at another time.
In 1 year hence.
In 1 year hence.
Beep. There you go.
Thank you. Oh, man.
Lock it in. Yeah, as she finishes the note, it catches fire, which I just I love. Like, this note shall self-destruct.
Yeah.
Oh, very good. Yeah, so that's the challenge. It's pretty airtight in terms of rules. And yeah, it's good. The king, like, approaches the knight and he's like, and has a couple questions for him. Like, he says, "Is this, like, your challenge alone?" And he's like, "Yes." And he's like, "Well, as much as I would love to fucking do this, I am too old and frail." And he asks for volunteers, and he's like, "Surely one of you brave lads is brave enough to accept this man's challenge." And Gawain immediately volunteers. He's wanting, this is the opportunity he's been waiting for, to prove himself, to have a story worth telling.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Do you reckon that the mum meant for him to take it?
Yes.
Like, is that maybe where it's all fallen apart? Okay.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's by design. And yeah, we get the cha-ching of money coming in when he accepts this mantle. And we go into money. And yeah, he's like trying to figure out what to do here, about to like jump over the table and get involved. And the king reminds him at this point that this is only a game. It's only a game. There's nothing to fear. And he borrows the king's own sword for this battle, presumably Excalibur. I don't know for sure, but pretty dramatic. And then prepares to do battle. They square up against each other, and then the knight just stands with his arms outstretched in the center of the room, just asserting dominance. He's just like awaiting the blow rather than like fighting. Gawain was expecting a battle to take place, even though he's like not a knight and hasn't prepared, doesn't know how to fight with a sword probably. He was expecting to have to fight the knight, who just puts his axe down to the floor, like disarms himself, and where he puts it, it starts like moss starts instantly growing around it, up through the cracks in the floor and the cobblestones, and covering the area where the axe is. I love that detail, so sweet. He refuses to like face Gawain in combat, who isn't like sure what to do, and he like the knight just like turns his head and exposes his neck, like proffering that to Gawain, who's like, what? He has to like hype himself up, sort of like a King Arthur beat your chest moment.
I blocked that out of my memory. Guy Ritchie's King Arthur beating his
it's so funny
beer chest.
But yeah, he hypes himself into doing it and then says, never forget what happened here on this Christmas day, and he beheads the knight in one like clean swipe. So that's pretty impressive. Everyone's looking on. There's blood covering the castle floor, and he turns to face the king and queen, sort of in shock, I think. Yeah. And headless behind him, the knight rises in the background and picks up his own head and like turns it to face the audience, and the eyes crack open, and it just says
1 year hence,
which is so sick.
Yeah.
And he just like, still holding his head, remounts his horse and just maniacally laughs and leaves.
Gaps it.
Fucking amazing. Just laughing all the way out of the castle. And everyone's like, yeah! They all see this as an absolute victory, which is so funny.
It's such like toxic masculinity. It's like, he'd chop him up.
Yeah. Like Gawain and the king and queen are both sort of in shock about what just happened. Everyone else is loving it. So that whole sequence played out for the money solo as well, and we go into the second verse like right as the crowd cheer after that performance,
as they would for the solo.
It's weirdly good timing wise there.
And the Green Knight like re-rises to that like descending scale that signifies that the solo's about to go more insane.
Real nice syncs throughout that whole bit, really. We get from here, like that's the end of that part of the tale, and we see the axe getting closed away in a chest, and then we get on top of that chest is a new title card, a too quick year. Because we've got that. We see the year play out very quickly as we're going into Us and Them, and a crowd has gathered to watch like a sort of puppet show, very like Punch and Judy-esque, but like pre-Punch and Judy, obviously. It's the legend of Sir Gawain and the Green Knight playing out here, because it's become legend already, this event. Even before the legend itself is completed, and I think that's really interesting. Like the point that this story is already being told across the kingdom, even though like the ending hasn't happened. Yeah, so that's just interesting.
I mean, not to pat myself on the back, but it does kind of stack up to my English teacher theory.
I like it. It's getting, it's good. It's good stuff. I do also like with this puppet show, there's like a wheel behind the characters showing like the seasons, the passing seasons, which is a fantastic, like whoever made this puppet show fucking crushed it, because that is like fantastic way to show a year passing, just having these like 4 segments on the wheel. It's really nice. I really appreciated it. So it's
been a big spring summer of puppets for us as well.
Yeah, man, puppets are popping off. It's just, when are we doing bloody like Chucky?
Oh, don't tempt me.
Yeah, or like the Saw franchise. I don't know like many other puppet-based films, but
Team America.
Yeah.
Isn't there like? Is there a movie that's as creepy as the puppets in Being John Malkovich? Because they messed me up when I first saw them.
I don't know. Like, I'm trying to think. Oh, but
there's that Dan Harmon, Charlie Kaufman one that's like weird, creepy stop motion puppets that are a little too real, but a little too unreal.
Oh, I don't like that. Yeah, no. Let's get off this puppet train as fast as we can.
I'm just worried that, like, I bet that the 2020s were going to be the big decade for clowns, and I think puppets are going to beat them. So,
all right, well, we were close, you know.
Based entirely on our reviews of movies that usually came out in different decades to the 2020s, puppets are back.
It's defining for us at the very least.
Yeah.
Well, puppets are back in a big way, and everyone's like, what the fuck are these guys talking about? Oh, man. Anyway, we got... Essel hanging out with Gawain. They are seeing each other once more, and she's like asking him what it was like fighting the knight, beheading the knight, and he says that it was like cutting a melon, and it felt like nothing really to Gawain. He was like sort of shocked about how easy it was, and doesn't really understand what it means, I feel like, at this point. But yeah, it's interesting that he's like, he doesn't have anything really to say about it. And he feels very conflicted about it because we see him at a bar, like enjoying time with his friends like usual, but someone comes up to him and starts like singing his praises, like recalling the legend of the Green Knight, but he gets all the details wrong, obviously. Saying that like he cut the knight's head off with his own axe and stuff, which didn't happen. So he beats the shit out of this guy outside the bar. So it's pretty clear that he like doesn't fully want to accept this as his legacy. He's torn about it being again like his fame outstripping him and him like not living up to this legend, right? Because everyone knows that, and everyone's telling this story, and he hasn't really got a say in it. But and he doesn't really know what he's doing as well. He's still very childish and sort of trying to still live his old life and like throw all this other stuff aside while still having the aspirations of being a knight.
But having a myth about yourself is a lot like when your parents call you and you feel like your life's a mess, but you kind of like spin it off to sound like it's really cool. So like, at least they won't be worried.
Yeah.
You know? That's what it's like when an ancient myth is written about you.
These are the modern myths. Yeah. The lies we tell our parents. Oh my gosh. But yeah, after beating this guy up, he looks up in the sky and it is beginning to snow, hearkening to the Christmas season falling upon the land once more. And yeah, he goes home and like after this drunken brawl, covered in like mud from the street, and the king and his mother are meeting in his house, and he's like, "Oh shit!" and immediately like starts cleaning himself off. His mother doesn't say anything and like leaves, and the king has come around and he was discussing how he should go and meet the knight at the chapel because they've still got to do that. And Gawain's like, wasn't it just a game? Like, does it matter? And the king is like, it may have been. It may just have been a game, but it's not complete. The game is not finished. And you've got to see it through.
Yeah.
And, basically Gawain is very afraid of the consequences of what he has done. He's afraid that death is not worth the price, is not like a price worth paying for greatness. And the king is like, that's how it is. That's the story, man. That's what it is to be a knight. Like, to become a legend, you've got to accept that, like, in order to become great, you risk dying. Is sort of the idea that I get from this scene anyway. And
bloody Pink Floyd come along and undercut it by saying, not going to kill you, give you a short, sharp shock.
Yeah.
Which is like, dudes, you're not listening.
Mate, they maybe they are listening. Maybe they're listening very closely.
Oh.
But anyway, the king wipes mud off of Gawain's face in order to, like, comfort him. They do have, like, a fairly close relationship, it would seem, like, or like he's, like, tender to him anyway. But anyway, we're going into the sax solo for this, which I'm loving. Of Us and Them, by the way. And yeah, we see the end of the play out after the scene as well, the little puppet show, where Gawain's head is cut off by the knight, like, mirroring the other scene, and his head just falls to the floor, and then the knight, like, gives a wee giggle and leaves. It's just a dark implication there that this is coming. His mother visits him to prepare him. We get this, like, preparation kind of montage for the journey, as there are all kinds of offerings that he is given for the journey. He gets, like, a blessed shield with a depiction of, I think, God on it. And his mother gives him a green sash with a rune inside of it, and says that if he never lets the sash fall, no harm will come to him. Like, so long as he has the sash on his waist, he will be free from harm.
Yeah. Is the sash in the original poem?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It's pretty important.
But
again, it is given much, much later in the story. So yeah, again, it is given by this character, but, like, the character is different in the story. So but yes, it is one and the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes it very interesting with what's about to happen.
Yeah.
To this sash.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. The king and queen give their blessings to the journey, and we get a cutaway to a meeting, like the final farewell between Gawain and Essel, and she is trying to convince him that this is stupid, and that, like, she basically represents, like, the life that he desires, and not this knight of, like, one of the lives that he desires, rather. The one that isn't a knight, the one that, like, continues to have fun and enjoy life, and it doesn't aspire for greatness, just is content with the way things are. And yeah, I do love her line. She says, "Surely goodness is good enough over greatness," which is, it's a good line. She gives him a little bell as a farewell just pulls it off her cloak. And
if you can still hear it ringing, then he still believes in Santa.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, probably. Except the Santa in this instance is the Green Knight, so there is sort of a different implication there.
This is my $1 million idea. For A24, is they should re-release the Green Knight now, but just carefully recolor the Green Knight so that he's white and red and he's Santa.
Yeah, that works.
Don't address it, because they don't call him. I don't think they call him the Green Knight during the film. They're not like, here comes the Green Knight, and you can dub that. I'll dub it. You can dub it.
No, they don't. They just refer to the chapel, right? The Green Chapel, and I think he is just referred to as the knight if he does get mentioned. So
easy.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Gawain sets out on horseback, and he gets followed by these little kids, like wishing him luck on his journey. I love these little dudes. This is also a fantastic shot. It's just like a long shot of Camelot in the background and him riding towards camera, and we see the tower that he rides with which the ritual took place in as well in this like very long sequence. It's really, really beautiful. And also like CGI, like this Camelot isn't real, so they had to make it, and it looks fucking great.
They used a bunch of like old timey effects as well. Like they painted a lot of, like I think they painted onto the film to kind of get a lot of stuff to look right.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Really like. Yeah.
For one thing, this movie is at least visually stunning. Like throughout the whole thing, it's very well thought through visually. And that's, I think, what attracted me in the first place to it, through the trailer. But yeah, it's yeah. The
at the very least, it's going to be enough for them to give this director, David Lowery, whatever he wants. If he wants like a big franchise or something,
which I'm down for.
Yeah, it's his old mate getting the chance to direct Dune. Like, he just got to direct something beautiful enough, and we'll be like, yeah, sweet. Yeah.
Here's Dune. You know?
Yeah, he just gets to make Dune. Everyone gets to make Dune.
Everyone gets one. We're all doing Dune now.
I'm excited for your Dune. More than I'm excited for my Dune. My Dune's going to suck.
Oh, no. My Dune is just going to be Dune, but the role of Paul Atreides is played by Gumby.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. Gumby Dune.
Mine's just going to be Ladybird, but outside of every window, I've animated in a bunch of sand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sandy Bird.
Yeah. Lady Worm.
Yep. That works much better. Anyway, we've got that beautiful shot. And this is where we get the farewell from Essel. Sorry.
That's so good.
And yeah, it starts raining as she runs away. There's like a storm coming in, like pretty obviously the storm is coming. But Pink Floyd notice as well and say like, when the cloud bursts thunder in your ear, as we're in brain damage right now. So that works.
Yeah.
Pretty nice. And yeah, Gawain comes upon a crossroads where there's a skeleton hanging in a cage. When I was watching this for the first time, by the way, my friend very rightly pointed out, this skeleton should have fallen apart. There's like a full-on science room skeleton hanging out in this cage, fully intact. But yeah, he should just be old bones.
I reckon someone's coming and sticking them back together.
Yeah?
He's a sign. He's pointed the right way.
He is. Is the skeleton the skeleton assembly man is coming by every bloody week to put that skeleton back together. Ugh. Gosh.
The skeleton didn't even die in that cage. The guy had to put him in like a ship in a bottle.
Oh man, yeah, he's tediously putting the bones back with tweezers.
Yeah.
He's like, this is so difficult.
He's the man who later invented signs to be like, guys, we need a better way than just me riding across the kingdom, reassembling skeletons.
Fair enough, you know? Oh my god.
Or at least we need some sort of glue for these skeletons. I can't be doing this every day.
Yeah. The issue is that he couldn't write. He didn't know how to write, and he's just like, well, I do have a lot of bones.
My past as a serial killer is coming in handy.
Yeah. Oh well. And that's how we got Signs. Great.
Yeah.
Just a wary serial killer. Oh my god. But yeah. He sort of doesn't know which way to go, and then eventually chooses a path and just goes down it. And yeah, we get into Eclipse, and he's traveling through a forest, and there's a fox in the distance.
Oh yes.
Who just sort of disappears, and this fox will be a recurring feature. Yeah, and he rides past someone shot full of arrows before coming upon a battlefield. Gareth, and we get a new title card on screen saying "A Kindness" in all capitals. Yeah, and we've got this little scavenger boy who is robbing corpses on the battle, or like at least like scavenging like items from like this battle that has raged on. Everyone's dead here. Also, this guy is my favorite performance in the whole film. He like fucking crushes it. This guy is so good. Very sinister.
I didn't realize until the second watch, this synced watch, that this is Barry Keoghan, who I saw a great tweet about him this year that was just his face, and it's like, if this guy's showing up in your movie, you know shit's about to go down.
That is
like, it's just something about him.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. You know that there's someone's getting betrayed at some point just by like his mere presence. He doesn't even have to be involved. He could just walk past the screen. And you're like, oh shit! Like, here we go. About to have a season finale or something.
Yeah.
Oh man. Here he is. He's great. Big fan of this guy. But yeah, he basically he's sort of telling a story about like why he's here, collecting all this stuff, and he seems super off to me from the get-go, obviously. But Gawain like is so naive and instantly trusts him. He's just like asks him for directions to the Green Chapel. And the guy's like, oh, yeah, there's a stream that you should follow that'll take you straight to the Green Chapel. Just have to go up north that way, and you'll be all good. And Gawain's like, thanks, my thanks, and just starts riding off. And he's like, ahem. What, pardon me? Where's a little bit of payment for that information? That would be nice.
My wallet needs to be the color of that chapel, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, just a little greener, if you could. And Gawain like tosses a coin to his witcher, just launches one at him, and he's like, there you go, a kindness. And continues and rides off. And the guy's how many old-timey people were getting killed by their coins just being chucked at them to pay for stuff? Like, oh, for real. This is like one of my favorite bits as well. Just like a lord sitting atop a horse and demanding various things be done for them to peasants. I used to do this all the time with friend of the show, Roman, where we would like commission yes, a portrait of myself and my family must be painted and ready for the end of the year, for Christmas time, sir. Here are a few silvers for your trouble. And we'd like mime tossing a bag at a peasant. We would do that like probably way too long.
You're just like at the front of the queue at the supermarket doing this bit to the counter.
Oh, we would do this in public, like surrounded by friends at bars and just like at people's weddings, you know? The bit has legs like you wouldn't believe, alright?
Yeah. More legs than the horse the Lord is atop.
For real, man. Those legs go to heaven. It's great. Yeah. So shout outs to you, Roman.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're so right. It would be so dangerous getting coins tossed at you, just ballistic missiles launched from the Lord's hands. Yeah, I'd be wary of it I'd no doubt be a peasant and not a lord.
I reckon you could probably Prince and Pauper your way in with that impression. Like, yeah, you just find an untethered horse, hop atop, start throwing stones and bags. Everyone's going to think you're a lord. You're in there
until they open those bags. And then I've just armed the peasants.
Oh no! Shit. You bring all of medieval society down.
Yeah, there's going to be a legend about me, the most foolish lord, as I just get pelted with stones no matter where I go. God damn. Please do not do that if you see me, by the way.
Yes, please. Protect. A scam artist, Anna Delvey, like, she got so far because she knew how to talk about money despite not having it.
Right.
That's all it takes. You got to talk like a lord to live that lord life.
All right. So I'm just passing out empty sacks rather than stone-filled sacks and be like, oh, you must have lost the money. I've got so much. I'll just I'll sort it out for you in a week. you know. And they're like, what's a week?
And you're sweet.
Yeah.
What about sacks full of smaller sacks?
Oh,
and
I like
peasants
that.
will be like, well, this has got to be what the money comes from.
Yeah. Sacks all the way down.
Yeah. Sacks on sacks on sacks.
There we go. Perfect. The ultimate scheme for the, 900s or whatever.
Yeah. The Dark Ages.
Yeah, perfect. Take me back. Gawain continues on his journey, none the wiser, before he gets ambushed by these scavengers. The group of thieves out in the woods. Classic stuff, really. And he immediately, panics because they, pull him off his horse, and the scavenger boy reappears and says, "'Tweren't enough," which I love a lot. Gawain immediately cops to the fact that he's not a real knight. And they're like, well, you look like a knight, and you smell like a knight, and you've got you got all this fancy stuff there, man. They cut free his protective sash from his waist as he's openly weeping. And so he is sashless coming up. The protective rune sash. I don't know. It doesn't protect against getting conned, I guess.
Yeah.
Importantly. No harm will come to you except through your own fault, I suppose. Yeah.
What we missed was the scene of his mum then showing him that tweet about Barry Cogan and being like, unless this guy shows up, because then you know shit's going down.
Shit's going down, man.
Yeah. Season finale on the sash.
Protect your sash from this boy.
Yeah. I swear he wears a sash in the Eternals as well. Maybe he's in the acting game for these sashes.
He's just collecting all the sashes. And once he gets them all, we don't know what he's going to do. Some kind of sash dance.
Oh, he actually wanted to become a rhythmic gymnastics person, but he ended up walking into the acting class instead.
Yeah, he's just slowly collecting sashes from the various films that he's getting cast in.
Yes.
That's his role. The sash role. Yeah. Love to interview you, mate, just to find out more about this sash situation.
Yeah. We'll talk to you about sashes, Pink Floyd, and then we'll watch your favorite movie. As long as it's good.
Oh, I don't care if it's good. I'll watch it even if it's bad. That's a promise.
All right.
They start robbing him. They tie him up and leave him under a tree as they go through all his belongings. They jump and stamp on his shield, breaking it in half. The bloody god is cut in twain. Poor boy. The scavenger finds the axe. And he's like, oh, shit, this is a pretty cool axe. And he's like, I think it suits me. This huge axe that is my height. It just takes off and he's like, I'll finish your quest, Sir Knight. It will be me finishing the story. And he just takes off. And then the scavengers are like, oh, shit, what should we do? And they take off after him because, they just follow him around, leaving Gawain alone as we get the crash sound and on the run once more. Oh,
yeah.
And of the roar of this crash, the reverb piling on, we just get the slow rotation shot, 360 degree shot of Gawain, lying under this tree, bound and gagged, and then it rotates around the forest view to reveal a potential future where the scene has slowly becomes overgrown and lush as and reclaimed by nature, leaving Gawain as this skeleton who is still bound and gagged. Very dramatic. Also, it's very heightened hue for this scene as well. And
we
then,
just missed, like, I was freaking out because I thought the famous clocks were going to go off when we see him as a skeleton.
Sadly
but
not.
the camera pans just too slowly, and the clocks finish right as we see him as the skeleton.
Right as we see him, yeah. And then we rotate back the same way, back to present day, like back the opposite way, anti-clockwise, round the clock, as clocks are starting. And, he refuses to give up and inches over to his sword and cuts himself free from his bindings. Looks like it hurts like a bitch as well.
Yeah, I did.
Because, using a fully sharp sword on your hands, it's a bad time. But we're getting time.
I will say, like, this was sort of because I genuinely thought, like, oh my god, they've just killed him off, and then we've still got all this movie to go. Like, what the hell is going to happen?
Yeah.
I thought maybe we were going to follow the scavenger for a bit, and then maybe he dies and someone else takes over. Yeah, I don't know if you've seen The Place Beyond the Pines.
No.
And I'm sorry for spoiling it, but it does a similar twist where it just kills off a character and then follows the next character.
That's sweet.
And it worked. So I don't really rate the film too much, but it worked so well the first time I saw it.
Yeah.
That trick.
Very cool.
So I think I was like, it's classic, like an audience not knowing what they want, but the audience is me not knowing what I want. Like thinking that'll be cool, but then what I got instead was much nicer. I had way more Dev Patel.
Yeah, exactly. He's still here, still alive, and he has freed himself from his bonds. The subtitles for this section, as he's like running away into the darkness, say "Unsettling music continues."
Yes,
which works for me because time is playing.
Yeah,
so that's good.
Pink Floyd, "Unsettling music continues."
Yeah, that's the story of the show.
Yeah, that's the episode description.
Yeah, and he's like calling out for his horse, which, by the way, is named Gringalot, which is the funniest name for a horse I've ever heard. It's very strong. Although, actually, horse names are their own bizarre world. Especially racehorses. They have the, weirdest names possible. I don't know why, but
just like a sentence. It's all to prank whoever has to announce them, really.
Yeah,
you're going to have to say this a whole bunch.
That's the idea, but it's sort of evolved and become its own thing now. But yeah, because regular horses that aren't racehorses have fairly normal names, like Gringalot. So, I don't know. I don't know why racehorses have to be called, Bucks Aplenty, or, whatever, it's... Yeah, it's weird.
Or Dreams of a Single Ocean, or something like that.
Wow, yeah. Dreams of a Single Ocean.
What we should do is, and this is, terrible for a vegan to suggest this.
Okay.
We should get into horse racing. We should both buy huge amounts of rival horses.
Yep.
And name them all names in binary.
Ooh.
And then whoever's announcing it is being like, and that's 0011000 coming up front, followed closely behind 0000111. And coming up third is, of course, 0033. No, sorry. 001111.
Yeah. Or just
That's our rival.
Bits of code that fuck up the TAB's system. So that when it de-aligns everything on the betting computers. That's the dream.
Drop table, pay Gareth Blacklock.
Exactly. 20 go to 10 or whatever,
Control A, delete.
Yes, because the TAB runs on text-to-speech. Perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, God. But anyway, yes, he's calling out for his horse as this fog is rolling in, and he... stumbles through the darkness before coming across a lake, and we get a new title card for this mini story, I would say, that plays out here. The most cohesive story part of his journey. Again, this not part of the main legend, I don't think.
It's hinted at, I think, a similar legend in the original.
But it's not covered. This is one of the ones that they filled in a lot of gaps, but it's all right.
And I'll say it, this is my favorite scene in the film. This could have been its own Oscar-winning short film.
Yeah, this is really fun. I love this. This stuff. It's a meeting with Saint Winifred, as he sees a cottage ahead of this small lake, and he goes to explore in there, and there's no one there. It seems long abandoned. There's like old food that's turned to mostly dust. And he's like, oh, okay. And he finds a bed to go into and has a wee snooze right as we get the tempo change in time, which I'm very happy about. And it says gentle music playing when that happens as well. So just so you know, the subtitles are in tune with what Pink Floyd are up to. Anyway, only to be awakened in the middle of the night by the house's owner, Saint Winifred, who is this lady, and they're a spooky ghost. Gareth. She is great. And we're in great gig. And
it's a great gig for the actress Erin Culliman. Who was the best part of Falcon and the Winter Soldier as well.
Oh, sweet. Nice.
Yeah, and crushing it in this short film.
Yeah, absolutely. So Gawain says that he's like heading home after losing his way, which is important. He says that he's like basically given up on the quest. He's not at this stage. He's just like, I'm trying to find my way home. And the girl is like, oh, what are you doing in my bed? And we learn from her that she has lost her head in the lake, and Gawain is to dive in to retrieve it. And he's like, my lady, your head is on your neck. And she's like, no. You don't understand. And then she tells this story of a man coming to her house and not leaving her alone, coming to seek shelter. And she says, just like you. Actually, maybe it was you, is what she says, which is like, whoa. Anyway, she like tried to fight him off, but eventually he returned and cut her head off and threw it into the spring, into the lake. And he's like, okay, fuck. Weird story, but fair enough. And he's like, what do I get in exchange for helping you? And she's like, why would you ask me that?
Yes.
I really love that. She's just like, what, you expect payment? Like, what are you talking about?
It's so perfect. It's because it's totally like how knights acted in these old tales.
Yeah.
Like, and in return, it's almost like video game logic. Like, yeah, I'll help you collect the gears, but you're going to give Spyro one of these orbs.
Yeah, 500 gold pieces, please, ghost. Yeah, no. She's like, what are you talking about? Just get in there. And
she delivers the line so similar to Howard Moon from The Mighty Bushwood.
Yes.
The same way he goes like, don't touch me, don't ever touch me.
Yeah.
It's exactly her like, what are you talking about? No.
She's like jumped out of this like being a ghost for a second.
Yes, exactly.
Which I really enjoy. So he's like, okay, and he dives on in to the water, and swimming around in there, we get this fantastic red lighting cue. The whole lake turns red, and he is swimming deeper and deeper down through this water, the lake much deeper than it should be. And he spies at the bottom a skull, and swims through the depths to retrieve it. And right at the end of the great gig, he like jumps up onto the, well, he doesn't jump. He like slams the skull onto the surface of the shore, and there's no one there except the fox who is watching him there from earlier, who runs off, and he's like, what the fuck? What's that fox about? It's still following him even now. It wasn't with him with the scavengers and all that, but it is here now. And he returns with the skull in his hands. He goes back upstairs to the bed and is going to return it to the dead body. He sees a dead body there on the bed. Sorry, which is terrifying considering he was sleeping there.
I know.
And he's like, "What the hell?" And then looks down to his hands, and he sees the girl's severed head in his hands, and drops it in fear.
And exactly to the cha-ching of money as well.
Yeah. Terrifying. But it whispers some stuff to him. Again, in like a different voice. It says, "Now I can see thee. and I will strike thee down with every care I have for thee. The Green Knight is someone you know. A message of ill portent from this head. Just some classic spooky ghost shit. I love it. And yeah, he like is staring at it and then like reaches for it and it's returned to being a skull. Like through the magic of editing, which is fantastic. And yeah, he puts it back on the head of the skeleton, the neck of the skeleton rather, and the dawn rises behind him as he's sort of silhouetted in this window as this has taken place over the course of the night. And he looks over to the stairwell and the axe is there. The Green Knight's axe is just resting there, even though it was stolen earlier. Interesting. Yeah. How did it get there? Magic. Ghost magic? Who knows?
I wonder, like, because we'll get to it as well, something else that Barry, lover of Sasha's, stole comes back. Like, do you think he went on his journey and immediately got, like, killed by this ghost?
Unknown.
And his, like, items were dispersed amongst the magical creatures?
That's the thing. I think it's like returning these items of like story importance back to the hero character. It's just like that's just something that happens on the journey, you know? It's like it's not going to be explained. It's just like this is just how the legend goes. Like, and then he got the axe back and you're like, oh, okay. Like, cool.
It does lend what's the word? Credence? Lends creed, the band, to the theory I've heard that he did just die when Barry killed him, and like the rest is his dream, which I don't really dig because then he has a dream within a dream later.
Yeah, that's a bit much.
And he'd make himself seem way cooler if this part of his dream, I reckon.
Exactly, God. He's still learning lessons to come, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, we get an interlude now as Money's solo rolls on as his journey continues. He's just holding this axe on his shoulder as he is walking, striding through these beautiful landscapes, and he rests in a cave for the night, and the fox comes a calling again, and eventually like they become traveling companions together. Got to have a little magic fox on your side for a journey.
Love this fox. He is so cool. He's like all CGI, but you know, not obviously clunkily. And he just scampers along, living the dream.
It's just a good little friend. And they like set out the next day together. He slips down a cliffside and drops the little bell that he got from Essel. Now, importantly, this also finds his way back into his possession later. He just also magically has it again, even though it looks to be in this scene that he drops it and leaves it. It's like all these items do magically return to him, or he always had them. You know, it's like not clear when they left, or even if they did leave his possession, you know.
I mean, that's exactly the Polar Express. So these two do take place in the same universe.
Oh, there you go. So he eats some wild mushrooms for some nutrients, and he feeds some to the fox, but these aren't good mushrooms. He throws them up, Gareth, at the end of Money. And enters, like, has a brief trip out where he thinks his hand is melting away, which is very upsetting, like crumbling into dust or something. And he looks up, and silhouetted on the horizon is the Green Knight with green lightning flashing behind him. Super dramatic. Again, a vision, or a like just part of his mushroom trip. Who's to say? But yes, this doom is looming on the horizon. We go into Us and Them as we get this stunning shot from above as Gawain is like trudging through marshland. I think this scene is shot is what sold me on the movie initially. Just this one still, I was like, damn, It's like very, very far above, looking down at him walking through the marsh with this little fox friend. So good looking. And as he's going, this enormous hand grabs the side of the mountain and pushes off as these huge giants are walking by. Very strange. Not explained, these giants. They're just like enormous, naked people. I think they're all women. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, I think so. They're very ephemeral. They're hairless. They're slightly out of focus.
Yeah, because they're huge.
He tries his best to like... how does he say it? He's like, "May a weary traveler rest upon your shoulders."
Yeah.
And hitch a ride.
And it like... The giant talks back to him, but it's just so huge and is speaking... Like, the reverberation is so low that he can't understand anything that they're saying. And the giant, like, reaches down to grab him, but he, like, cowers in fear. And so the giant's like, "Oh, okay." And then the fox lets out this, like, howl, warding them off. I don't know if a fox can howl, potentially. I feel like they make really weird little, like, yip noises.
Yeah, there was that thorough investigation in 2013 into what the fox said.
Yeah. A deep delve, a thesis was written, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, and obviously it's only understandable by giants. That's what we learned.
I guess so. That was what that song was about. Thank God.
Yeah, I love these giants. I think this is so cool. And so, like, you know, he wants to rest on their shoulders and be carried to his mission.
Yeah.
And, like, work with the giants, and they legitimately can't understand him or comprehend him because he's just so tiny to them.
Yeah.
Which is just a perfect way to sum it all up as well.
Yeah. That's a great summary, actually, of what's going on here. They are very ephemeral. One of them's carrying, like, an enormous baby as well. Yeah. Just good vibes. And it's working really well with the us and them, like, chorus.
So well.
Yeah, these giants like all start like singing like a high-pitched song, and yeah, it works very well with us and them. Yeah. We get like a shot of him continuing his journey, like walking on past these giants as they like fade into the distance because they're way faster, being able to cover a huge amount of ground. And the camera rotates a full 180 degrees, which is, again, very sickening. But it like paints the earth as the sky, continuing forward. It is a cool shot. It's just that I get motion sick.
That's fair.
He's continuing on and through the darkness now, and he stumbles and falls like exhausted as he's just been continuing on without anything. And the fox encourages him to continue forward, like starts bleating at him or whatever. And because in the distance is the light of a castle, and he stumbles up to the door and falls through the entryway right as we get the sax solo of us and them coming in, the transition. And he just like falls into darkness. And we see him like, there's this is another great shot, like looking down at this bed from above. It's like a 4-poster bed situation with silken curtains, and they're all the same material. So it's all like beautiful black silks with Dev Patel like sort of shrouded in them. Very cool. And he dreams of his mother, like, looking after him in this moment. He's vaguely, like, fetal in this situation, in this position as well. Like, very much him being a child and being cared for. And, but he wakes up for real because he awoke as part of this vision of his mother looking after him. And then he wakes up and there's a man here. Looking after him, and he's like, "Oh, I know who you are, Sir Gawain. You've reached the end of your destination here. The castle. You can stay here as long as you like. It's December 21st, so you still have time to complete your quest."
Yeah.
And he says that basically the Green Chapel is very close and he doesn't have to worry. And he's a hunter, this guy, and he lives in this castle with the lady of the house as well, who looks a lot like Essel, Gareth. Like almost to say exactly the same, but but
almost as if this were a fictional film, Alicia Vikander would have been playing both the characters.
Yeah, perhaps. At least she looks a bloody lot like her. And on screen we get a new title card that says "An exchange of winnings" as she appears. And yes, there's also a strange blindfolded woman at this table who is never really mentioned.
No.
Yeah, so she is like, I've covered this off again, but yeah, she is the like mother character and the character that I've already said it. You know what I'm talking about.
Rewind and then stumble through trying to find this part again.
Yeah. You got it. Yeah, so that's kind of why she's a non-character here. But anyway, she's just sort of creepy set dressing for this situation at the castle.
Absolutely.
But yeah, we go into any color as any color you like, that is, as the hunter's talking about him being able to stay here and regain his strength. And yeah, the Green Chapel is only a day's ride away, so he will not be he'll be fine to stay here and recover, and then face the end of his quest on Christmas morning, and reach it in time. And he sees he's wandering around this mansion it's a castle really, but he sees this painting of a hunting party chasing a fox, which I feel like is fairly important. This scene. But yeah, it's a mirror of a shot coming up later, which I'll cover it more then. And he's like wandering the halls of this castle, looking at books. There's a huge library of books here, with like science, and there's like a depiction of the solar system, which is pretty wild for medieval times. But anyway, the lady of the house comes here. I just refer to her as that the whole time, by the way.
That's good. I think that's what she's credited as.
Oh, good.
Sweet.
Okay. She like sneaks up on him and they have a chat about the books. She's like read all of them and has written some of them. And she says that sometimes that when she sees room for them, she makes improvements to the stories, which is like, I think, a nod in the director being like, he's added things into the story to tell a new story. I think that's like what's going on with that line.
This is the Lady of the House's version. The Franklin version was the original.
Yes, absolutely. The unadulterated, pure turtle version of the Green Knight. She gives him a book as a Christmas gift. Oh, bloody love it. It's this weirdly shaped, like, round book, which is all good. Don't know what's going on with it. It's also, like, the writing in it gets, like, progressively smaller as well. It's very strange. But we go into brain damage, and in exchange for this book, she requests a kiss. And he very awkwardly gives her a kiss in exchange. Now, all this stuff that takes place in the castle is like so much more of a bigger deal in the story, by the way. This is mostly what the Legend of the Green Knight is about, this like sequence here. But anyway, he sits for like an early photograph to be captured of him. This scene is awesome. How she takes this terrifying photo of him with like a room constructed camera, which is how you would have to do it in medieval times, and creates this like negative of him as a depiction. So he's like upside down and in black and white, and it's great. He must suspect this to be like full blown magic, because it's pretty wild. And she comes over to him, and she spots and steals the little bell from his necklace, and she like questions him about that, saying like, did a lover give this to him? And he's like, no. Again, this is something that I thought he'd lost, but he just has. And she steals it. Yeah, she steals it from him. And again, she's the same character. She's like Essel taking the bell back. So, yeah, interesting. Yeah, we'll see you on the dark side of the moon is what's playing now, coming through. As we see the negative of this portrait here as well. So the dark side of him, like a reverse reflection of him. Yeah. And yeah, we see the hunter has caught a deer outside as we're listening to Eclipse, and he proposes this exchange where he'll bring things that he catches on his hunt, and Gawain will give him anything that he finds at the castle. And Gawain's like, well, surely anything that I find at the castle already belongs to you. And he's like, yeah, well, you'd be surprised, like... There are deals that make less sense out there. I think he's referring to the Green Knight's offer, which Gawain took. He's saying like, it makes sense. He also says, have you ever seen a hawk kill a horse? Which he's like, oh, you don't want to see that. Bizarre. It's just a strange little throwaway line in there that I was like, man, I don't know. I imagined it and I didn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's just one of the like conversation, not quite starters that he's just got in his pocket. Like, yeah. Well, it's almost like his conversation ender. It's like, well, we're not going anywhere after I mention the horse versus the hawk. Yeah. So
except that
that's how I get out of here.
We do. It leads us into a pretty oblique discussion of the themes of the film. Where he's talking about how a man's home is his like sanctuary, safe from nature, and then suddenly the lady of the house like pipes up and is saying, well, why is the knight green anyway? Why not? Why is he not a different color? Why is he not red or blue? And then she goes into this extremely long and terrifying monologue about how like nature comes for us all, like green representing nature and rot and decay and death, and the no matter what humans build, nature will reclaim it eventually. Like it is inevitable and tireless, and it will eventually come for us all. Like is the nature of her monologue, and it is made all the more terrifying over the heartbeats between albums, because we are going into our third playthrough and into Speak to Me and Breathe throughout this.
Made all the more terrifying by the fact that this film was released on Amazon. And Amazon are the ones, trying to stop nature.
Yeah, for real. Ugh. That's pretty wildly ironic, huh?
It should have like panned over and added in Jeff Bezos being like, but don't worry, guys, we're working on killing nature. We'll get it done.
We're doing our best over here. Enough money, and we'll get there. We'll package it up.
I stabbed a tree with a plastic knife earlier.
Plastic knife? Oh my god. That'll take that, nature, you bitch.
Yeah.
And the speech culminates in that nature will come and destroy everything. It'll reclaim what it once had. Even virtue it will conquer, is what she says. Staring pretty hard at Gawain as she's saying that. And Gawain talks about honor, how he doesn't fully understand like what he wants as a knight. He's like, honor will stand in the way of nature and it won't be tarnished by it. And he's like, oh, is that what you want though? It's part of what I want. It's part of the life that he sees for himself. He's still torn between these two worlds, and finally the hunter questions like the nature of his quest. He's like, so doing this one honorable act, and you return home afterwards, and you're a changed man. You're a knight. You're an honorable person. And Gawain's like, yeah, I guess that's how it works. And he's like, man, that's pretty wild. Pretty crazy,
Buzzy stuff, bro.
Yeah. I do like that these guys are sort of representing Gawain's like internal monologue about the whole situation. Like they're like trying to help him through it. But yeah, as we go into On the Run, we get the only interaction with this creepy blindfolded lady. She just comes in and like puts a hand on Gawain's forehead and then leaves. And it's like, okay. I don't know what this is for. It just sucks that she used to be this super important character. I would love it if she was played by the same actress as the mum. That would have worked great.
Yeah.
But no. Anyway, we see the portrait now has changed. It's like a mirror of the portrait that we saw earlier, except the hunter is chasing a man rather than a fox now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Gawain wakes up one morning. I think this is this is Christmas Eve morning. Where he wakes up and he finds the lady standing over him, and she like effectively offers herself to him, and he says it wouldn't be right, even though like she's for all intents and purposes Esau. So it's tough for him, and she asks him if he believes in witchcraft, and then sort of angles this in a way where he like resists her, and then she presents him with the golden girdle, the sash that was stolen earlier, and he's like, "Where did you get that?" And she's like, "I made it. I made it myself for you, and it will protect you." And it's like it is the same sash, and she returns it to him, but gives it to him as a gift, and in exchange for getting this protection back, he like succumbs to her basically, and we get the crash sound in On the Run to an exceptionally awkward sex scene.
How are you going to describe this one, Champ?
Okay, yeah.
Because it's made all the weirder by the fact that she's giving him the sash that his mum gave him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, in this exact same kind of way, saying that she made it as well.
Yep.
And
it's not great.
Because there's a very good sync coming, but forgive the pun.
Oh, yeah. Because, we are, like, he's having sex. It's not, like, it's, like, tastefully done. No one's, like, really seeing anything. But, the clocks go off as he ejaculates. So, we see the girdle, like, covered in his own jism, Gareth. It's not good. And she declares that he is no knight. Like, calling him out for who he is, truthfully. Because he wouldn't have, like, succumbed to this if he truly was a knight, is the lesson here. And we'll see that, like, truly informed, like, for the final parts of the movie. But, we'll get there. And in taking the sash, he's already failed, you see. But anyway. He's, like, terrified, like, sort of, like, coming down from this weird-ass situation, and suddenly the creepy woman is there again. And he's like, oh, shit! And he, like, makes a beeline to escape the castle over the very ominous chords of time coming in. More unsettling music continues. And, he runs off into the forest, and there's this huge beast that's been killed by the hunter. I think it's a bear. I can't really tell.
It had a bigger role initially in the film because a bunch of publicity shots leaked of Dev Patel holding this giant fake heart.
Whoa.
Yeah, and then that didn't turn out to be anything. But interestingly, the fake heart was entirely vegan.
Oh.
So,
okay.
Take a bite, Dev.
Vegan heart. Delicious. The hunter is here, and he is like questioning. He's like, "Oh, God, you killed this beast for you," And are you certain there is nothing that you were given that you want to give me in return, Gawain? And again, referring to the game, the like exchange deal that they made. And he leans down and gives Gawain a kiss on the lips. But again, Gawain like doesn't clue into the fact that he's supposed to give over the girdle, like the green sash, and give it back. And he's like, "Get away! I didn't want to play this game with you anyway." And the hunter's like, "Oh, all right, well, very well. Go on then." And he hands over the fox also that he caught in a trap, and he's got it in a like big sack. And he's like, "Yeah, paint me a painting." He tosses this fox at his face. No, he doesn't do that. But yeah, he gives it to him. And he's like, "Well, I guess go on to your destiny then." And he takes his leave right as we go into Time's solo. And we get the final part here. So that, by the way, that whole sequence is like so much more important in the legend. This exchange game that plays out is like, it's more like fairy tale in nature, in that the hunter returns with beasts that he's hunted and offers them to Gawain, and he is being seduced by the lady of the house. And each time the hunter returns, he gives him a kiss, because the lady has given him a kiss. And again, in the legend, on that final day, they make love, and then she gives him the sash, and he tries to escape, and instead of giving over the sash, he like runs away because he can't hand that over to this guy. So that's like another important part of this, keeping the sash, and it's again covered off a bit more in detail once we reach the end of the legend. So I'll give you the final part coming up.
Okay.
Yeah, so we've got the beheading at the Green Chapel, Gareth, as we enter this like golden hued forest, which is stunning. And he makes his way, and he sees a boat on the riverbank, and the fox tries to like ward him away from it, and then starts speaking to him. And it says, "Go that way, and your doom is at hand. There will be no mercy, no happy end." Ooh. Just scary talking foxes, you know. There's not a good time when the fox starts talking, you know.
Unless you're watching old Disney's Robin Hood or the Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Yeah.
If a fox starts talking, then chaos is going to reign.
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, it tries to ward him off and convince him to head home and embrace that he's not who he's trying to be. That this brave knight isn't really who he is. And he's like, "It's fine. I've got this protective sash that will look after me." And he's like, the fox is like, "There's no need for gifts where you're going. You shouldn't need it. You shouldn't need that. If you truly were who you said you were, then you wouldn't need that." And he's like, "Fuck off, fox." Takes a swing at it, and the fox just like is driven away.
Drops character, turns back to a fox, and like scampers.
And so he continues on to the chapel, and paddles his boat downstream, and we reach the chapel itself, which is so beautiful. It's this like ancient ruin of a chapel overtaken by plants and vines, and like part of the river, there's water like flowing through it. It's such a beautiful place. And we get great gig as it's introduced. We see like just shots of like earth and worms and foliage and roots and things as this area is introduced. And it's
even before that, like Time kind of introducing the scene and saying far away across the field calls the faithful to its knees.
Exactly.
And then hear the softly spoken magic spell. It's like, jeepers creepers, guys.
Yeah, great match. Great match. And yeah, we see Gawain like silhouetted in this entryway, like lit by like golden light behind him. And he sees ahead of him at the top of the stairs with like water flowing down these stairwell, the Green Knight, who is like grown into the wall, with vines flowing down his back and like through him effectively. Gawain like approaches and leaves the axe on the steps, giving it back to the knight, and then just kneels down and waits, because it's still Christmas Eve and he's supposed to be here on Christmas Day, Christmas morning. We see through the night that the Green Knight awakens. His like eyes like look at him very creepily. And then the next morning,
did you notice the Green Knight's face changes a bunch as well?
Yes, so there's a reflection of the water below him, like causing a ripple effect on his face, and like it sort of reflects the king's face multiple times, and I think also his own face. But yeah, it's like this shifting image. It's not quite clear who it's supposed to be. But yeah, it's unsettling.
It's the Green Knight playing with Snapchat's face swap filter. Over the night because he couldn't sleep for Christmas.
I mean, fair enough. There's not much else to do here in the Green Chapel.
And not much else to do with Snapchat. No one else is on it. Just the Green Knight.
Yeah, there's a reason Snapchat's logo is a ghost. It's just the Green Knight on there and Saint Winifred just vibing out, sending face swap pictures to each other. Yeah. Except Saint Winifred's been quiet for a while on there, but since she lost her head, she can't fewer selfies.
She can't use the Face ID on her iPhone.
No, she can't unlock her phone. Tragedy.
That's our modern ghost story.
Incredible. So it's Christmas morning, and the Green Knight awakens, and he comes down and he says, "Good sir, is it Christmas?" Like very friendly. He's in a different story. And
like he's at the end of Christmas Carol.
And he descends the stairs and picks up his axe and comes over to to young Gawain. He's like, "Do you recall where you cut me?" And he nods yes. And he's like, "And have you come to see that blow returned?" And again, he nods yes, but much slower this time. And he says, "Then kneel." And we go into money, and Gawain is like much too nervous to accept this blow, this fate, because he's knelt before the knight, and he like flinches each time because the knight like moves to swing his axe, and he flinches away, and he says he needs like time to prepare. The knight asks him if he needs a moment to prepare himself, and he's like, a moment or a year would be not enough time. You know, like he's been a year waiting for this, and there's no way he can prepare himself for it. And the knight's like, why are you showing fear when I showed you none, when the circumstances were reversed? Like, I wasn't afraid. I accepted my fate, just as you should, you know? And he's terrified. He's crying into the dirt, and the Green Knight's like patiently waiting and asking him if he's ready. And he like flinches away again, and then asks if he says, is this all there is? And the Green Knight is like, what else ought there be? Which is like, he's like asking nature if life is all there is. And nature's like, what are you talking about? Which is just so good. It's just a great series, great bit of dialogue there. And then he finally is ready to take the blow and then flinches and runs away back to the river. He can't face it. He apologizes and runs away, and he sees his horse there waiting for him as a miracle. And we get like touching reunion, very like Never-Ending Story vibes. And then the voyage home appears on screen as Gawain he's returning home to Camelot. There's no dialogue from here on up until the final part.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, he returns home to Camelot over the money solo, just wailing it. Meets Essel in the entryway, and comes back with her, and his mother washes his wounds and his body from his travels, and we see that the sash is still around his waist, and we see him making love to Essel, and then he fathers a child to her, and
yeah, sash still on for that.
Oh yeah, sash against still on. We go into Us and Them, and we see the king and queen on their deathbed. They're lying there, fading away, and the king knights Gawain as a true knight after completing this journey, and hands his sword to him, effectively naming him as successor in this moment before dying.
Yeah,
before literally fading away. As well.
Oh yeah. Like just ghosting out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Turning down that opacity in Photoshop.
Yes, to 0.
That's how I'm going to call dying when I die. Time to slide down that opacity.
At 0. Oh, God. Yeah. And then
this is when Us and Them kicks in.
Yes.
As well. Those dramatic organs.
Yes, so good. And then, Gawain is coronated. He is made king with the crowns in this movie are so good. They're like biblical halos attached to these crowns from like a painting. It looks so good. What a great design. And Essel gives birth to her child, which is fucking taken away from her by creepy old Merlin, who drops a pile of coins on the bed, which is stained with blood. It's just awful. And she's like crawling on the floor, trying to like scream out as this baby is taken away, and Gawain is just watching, like with no expression before leaving the room. And Gawain instead marries a noblewoman who I briefly thought was the ghost, but isn't. It's a completely different actress. Just they're both ginger hairs. So sorry about that. Yes, different people. Just a noble lady. And on their wedding night, they're preparing to lay with each other, and he is still wearing the sash, we see. And we see that war has broken out in the kingdom, and he is preparing for battle, looking over maps and wooden figurines, which get knocked over by his young son, who is wearing like a silver circlet. And he like comes over to him and takes his hand. And then we flash forward many years, and we see that same son now as a young man who is in the war and is dying from his wounds from the battle. And Gawain comes in and like takes his hand again, but this time his son dies.
Yeah.
And yeah, we see him like clutching the silver circlet and returning to Camelot after coming back from the front of this war. And the crowd jeering and throwing the stones that he threw at them back at his face. He's become like a widely despised king for his mishandling of the kingdom and this war. And he sees Essel silhouetted in the crowd as the crowd itself fades away, and he just sees her silently judging him. Really good stuff.
Yeah.
He has a new heir with his nobleman wife, and we see the family portrait. Well, like not the family portrait, his portrait from the castle that was created hung behind him in his castle with his like family around him, including his mother who's behind him on his right side. And the city is being attacked and is under siege, and we see men holding the gates or holding the entrance to the castle, the doors back, and his wife and child get up and walk away from him, and then his mother like touches his shoulder and walks away from him, and he's all alone, just staring.
I love a sad king. I love king or any kind of leader that knows he's failed and outside the gates.
Yeah.
Come the proof. Like there's that Coldplay song about it. There's a Vampire Weekend song about it. Trump's whole presidency kind of was about it. Like just the sad loser in his lonesome castle. It's just such a good thing. Like I'm pretty sure, isn't it in our like Facebook chat, I'm called the Sad King?
I don't think I've named you the Sad King. The Sad King is the secret character of the podcast that has been lurking in the shadows from the get-go.
Yeah, we stan a Sad King.
Absolutely.
Sing Floyd.
That is the damn truth. Not Trump, by the way. Anyway.
No. Oh, yuck. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. That's a free political statement from me on Sing Floyd.
I think we outright paused the show to say we don't like Trump on our last, like, second to last one before Christmas last year as well.
Good.
So,
Merry Christmas. Just a yearly reminder. 1 year hence, we still don't like the guy. Anyway. So the enemies are at the gates, and Gawain, in his chair, like sullen-faced, he pulls the sash away from his waist and holds it in his hand, and his head falls from his shoulders as if it was struck off. Like the sash was the only thing holding it there in the first place. And that's right at the end of Any Color You Like. Amazing. Mm-hmm. And from there, we cut back to the Green Chapel, as this was all a vision that Gawain was seeing of a potential future again. Like as the axe was swinging before him, this was like what could have been if he like flinched and ran away, you see.
So this is my big thing, that he had to kind of see this all to be like, see, I'm helping everyone if my mission just ends with this kind of beheading. Like, I'm doing everyone a favor, which I think like in these like, COVID times, you just tense up when anyone starts a sentence like that.
Yeah.
But I think like, the last year or two, people have spent a lot of time going like, oh, what if this one thing was different? And a lot of people do then try to, spin it to be, oh no, this is the best case scenario. This would have happened, or this could have happened if we didn't have that. Like, and I think it's quite irresponsible that Marvel released What If when a lot of people were, spending their time wondering what if.
Yeah.
So it's good to just kind of, let someone have their thought experiment of, this random set of occurrences that is life is turned out best. This is how it's meant to go. I'm helping the art,
Yeah. There you go. Perfect. And he sees this future, and as the knight swings his axe, he says, wait. And he removes the sash from his waist and sets it aside. And he accepts his fate with bravery, and he says, I'm ready now. Because again, he didn't need that, the sash. And that was it. The knight kneels down to him with a very kind face and touches his cheek, and he says, well done, my brave knight. Now off with your head. And like smiles broadly, and then we get the chorus of Brain Damage kicking in as the title card for the film appears. It's the Green Knight, baby, and it's like etched into a tree stump which is being overtaken with moss. And we go into the credits. It's left ambiguous, the ending here, but I can tell you the ending of The Legend, if you would like, which is a little bit more explicit about what happened here. So the sash is the key, obviously. The being given over. in the legend, he takes the sash off and everything, and the Green Knight swings and cuts slightly into the back of his neck, but does not proceed further. And that small cut into the back of his neck was because he didn't return the sash to the hunter. It was not it was the one failing part of his quest. He was not brave enough. It was not the noble knight path to choose, you see.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that was the failing. And yeah, it turns out that it was his it's the sister of the king who had set up this Christmas game to prove the story of the knight and was never going to cut his head off, but as a lesson here in terms of being a brave knight and sticking to your virtue, he would return with this story and with this cut to the back of his neck and the green sash. And the legend ends with Arthurian knights wearing green sashes to remind them to be virtuous. And yeah. So there you go.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. And so
I can see why that kind of ending being what you're expecting and instead getting this wholly ambiguous guitar solo of a film would be kind of in a different position. Yeah.
I do like the ending being ambiguous. Yeah, it's it is important. I think the ending is much more about it's still a lesson to separate yourself from the coddling of your mother, effectively. She is pushing him in the direction of becoming something more, but not necessarily a brave knight. She's saying she's trying to get him out of the house. And whether or not he is a brave knight is up to him. And the Green Knight is this lesson that you can be greater, but if you are constantly relying on those around you, and if you're constantly relying on these people that look after you, are you even acting for yourself? Is the idea anyway. I think it's about growing up, and mostly it's a coming of age story. The Green Knight. We do get a post credits sort of scene for this. It doesn't really play over much. It's just a child is playing in the throne room and picks up the crown that has fallen off of the beheaded version of Gawain. Puts it on. So
yeah, which is again an interesting kind of, you want to play knight, you want to play hero.
Yeah,
life's not going to be like that.
Exactly,
child.
Yeah, it's just it's about growing up. It's not about being this figure or symbol or whatever. You've just got to fucking own up for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah, it's a good little zinger against Gawain to end it on.
Yeah.
And it is happening just as the heartbeats for the end of the album.
Yeah.
So it's as if to say the cycle's going to continue.
Yeah. I'm a little bit disappointed they didn't do the nick to the back of the neck thing, but that's fine. I think it's good enough that you still get the same kind of lesson with this. So,
Now, would you have been less disappointed if you hadn't gone in thinking it was the Green Knight because they'd painted the Green Knight red and white and they called it Santa?
That would be interesting. I'd be like, why does Santa have an axe? And why is everyone talking about the entropic decay of the earth whenever he's around? Don't know what's going on there.
Yeah. Wait, why is he not in his toy shop? Why is he sitting in his green chapel?
Yeah, what's going on? What's going on, Santa? That would be what I'm asking in Santa's grotto, aka the green chapel.
There's a green chapel at every mall these seasons.
Yeah. Oh my god, that would be so funny. Holy shit. He's asking you for what you want for Christmas, but it's for next Christmas.
Yeah.
He's I don't have enough time. All right. Yeah, if you give me a gift now, I'll give you that same gift back to you in 1 year.
Yeah.
Anyway, what did you think and how
like
did it sink, Gareth? What did you think?
What did I think and how did it sink?
Yeah, bub.
Indeed. You know, I'm a lot like... Searching for a sink makes me a lot like Galwain, you know? I'm trying to make sense of a truly random world by, you know, trying to make sense of a truly random occurrence of pairing an album with a movie.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's currently it's sitting ambiguously, much like this film. But I will say, like, purely thematic and vibing, we were there, I would say, most of the time.
Yeah.
I think none of this felt completely jarring. And then there were some good moments lyrically and some nice little cues. I think we're looking at a high number.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. I'm feeling good about this one. I want to say like an 8. Yeah. Just like for like pure vibe and also just, many like actual syncs in there. Pretty impressive.
Love it.
8's a good space to be. Lock it in.
Well, speaking of 8, it's almost the festive season and people are going to have 8 a lot of food. But first, what movie are we covering next week? I'm sweating saying that segue.
Oh, that was fantastic. You had your own hero's journey saying that. Boy, oh boy. Well, next week, Gareth, I've got another... We're going back again. We're going to have a good time. What happened? We're going to be listening to the Pink Floyd and the Dark Side of the Moon once more. And you know what I'm going to be saying, Gareth? I'm going to be saying, play it again.
Whoa.
Play it again, Sam, because it's Casablanca this
Whoa.
time. A classic. Yeah.
Famously, you'll be saying it, but no one in the film will be.
Oh, well, never mind.
So stay tuned for that next week. Until then, follow Sync Floyd on all your favorite social medias and even the ones you don't like.
Yeah.
Thank you to people who've included us, have shown us that they were in their Spotify Wrapped.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Very wild.
Thanks so much, listeners, for we love to hear that. It was a very nice surprise. Also, fun fact, my Spotify Wrapped was an absolute mess this year, my personal one. So, the less I speak about that situation, the better. But thank you so much, listeners.
Yeah, the top 1% of Pink Floyd, so they can enjoy 4 cents from you this year.
Oh, mate, they'll be laughing all the way to the bank.
Yeah,
Gosh.
that's a cent each.
Yeah, mate. Oh, boy, just put it away for the... put it in a fund, boys, and you'll
give it to the Green Knight, and when he gives it back, there would have been inflation.
What interest rate is the Green Knight offering? That's the real question.
Ooh. I mean, he lives at a bank. Oh, river
bank. Yeah, it's all about investment.
I've been Gareth Blackler.
Oh, I've been James Barron. Goodbye.
Thank you to our co-hosts who weren't on mic, the Green Knight and the Candyman.
Yep.
And until next time, in trust and friendship, we shall part. I'll see you on the dark side of the moon.
I'll see you on the dark side of the moon. Oh!
I became the Green Knight as I sang that. I briefly forgot. Okay, bye.